welcome to class 567. Okay, let's finish where we left off yesterday. Let's start where we left off yesterday. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start where we left off yesterday. And Richard, where did we leave off yesterday? Where did we leave off yesterday? If I remember right, we left off yesterday with the translation booklet, list number 8, page 213. The last 4 sentences, only the last 4 sentences. Then vocabulary and then paragraphs, okay? And then. Tendrás que tomar una decisión. You'll have to make a decision. You'll, Brenner, you'll have to make a decision. You'll have to make a decision. You'll have to make up your mind. Make your mind. Decídete ya. Make up your mind. You'll have to make up your mind. Make up your mind. You'll have to make a decision. Yes, but I don't like making decisions. Well, I'm sorry. You'll have to make a decision. But I don't want to make a decision. I'm afraid. Well, why are you afraid? Because I don't like to make decisions. Making decisions. ¿No puedes esperar un poco más? ¿No podemos o no puedes? ¿No puedes esperar un poco más? Can't you? Can't you? Can't you? That's the 4th child of Carmenchu. That's right. Can't you? Aren't you? Don't you? Didn't you? And can't you? And there are 11 more children, I think. Couldn't you? Wouldn't you? Haven't you? Many more. Can't you? No puedes esperar un poco más. Can't you? Can't you? Can't you? Can't you wait a little longer? Can't you wait a little longer? No. I can't wait a little longer. I can't wait. Can't you? Can't you wait a little longer? Sorry, but I can't wait a little longer. I don't have any time. So make a decision. You'll have to make a decision. Nunca le gustaba comer fuera. No. He never liked to go out for dinner, no? He never liked to eat out. To eat out, comer fuera. Nunca le gustaba comer fuera, dice aquí, no? He never liked to eat out. You like to eat out, Marta? Yeah. Marta likes to go out for dinner, or to go out for lunch, or to go out to dinner, or to go out to lunch. 2 or 4 ambos, vale. To go out for dinner, to go out to dinner. Which is more common? I think to go out to dinner, but I'm not sure. Marta likes to go out. She likes to eat out. I like to eat out too, but I also like to eat in. I also like home cooking. Home cooking is comida casera. Home cooking. Home cooking. Or as Marta says, comida casera. No. Tiene el ceseo. No tiene el ceseo, right? All right, comida casera. All right. Home cooking. All right. Home cooking. Nunca le gustaba a él comer fuera. He never liked to eat out. And why didn't he like to eat out? Because his wife was a very good cook. And so he preferred to eat at home. And now? No, he died 2 years ago. Oh. Yes? What did he die of? He died of old age. How old was he when he died? He was 107 years old. Wow, 107 years old. Yeah, he died when he was 107. And it was interesting. If you looked at him, he didn't look a day older than 95. Okay, 107, so he died. But he never liked to eat out. ¿Y qué propones que hagamos? What do you propose we do? What do you propose that we do? That opcional. What do you propose? What do you propose we do? What do you propose they do? What do you propose she do? Subjuntivo en inglés. Que ella haga. ¿Qué propones que ella haga? What do you propose she do? What do you propose I do? Well, Richard, I propose that you continue teaching. Yeah, we have a lot of time left. So let's go to vocabulary. Vocabulary booklet. List number 30, I believe. Yes, list number 30. Are you ready? This is una calle de sentido único. Okay, a one-way street. A one-way street. A two-way street. Okay. There are a lot of one-way streets in this city. But there are a lot of two-way streets as well. Three-way streets? No. I don't know any three-way streets. Calle de Tres Sentidos. I know a four-way street. Calle de Cuatro Sentidos. Yes. It was an album, a double album, un LP doble, by Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. 1971, maybe. Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. Neil Young, Stephen Stills, David Crosby, and Graham Nash. It was called Four-Way Street because they were four very different musicians who came together. First, three of them, Crosby, Stills, and Nash. They came together. And then Neil Young joined them for 1 or 2 years. A group of four. Very, very good group. All right. Your generation probably doesn't remember them. It was called, the album was called Four-Way Street. But here es una calle de un solo sentido. A one-way street. A one-way street. Yes. I remember once I needed to visit a person who lived in a one-way street. And I couldn't find the way to go around in order to do it. So I backed the car into the street to go in. It was a one-way street. A one-way street. La historia antigua. Ancient history. Rome, Greece, Egypt, Mesopotamia, Persia, Babylon. Yes, ancient history. Rome, Carthage, the Carthaginians, the Punic Wars, the Phoenicians. This is ancient history, la historia antigua. Ancient history. Atenas, la ciudad. Athens is the capital of Greece. Athens is the birthplace of democracy. Athens, Solon, and many others. Yes, Athens. Athenians. The Athenians live in Athens. Athens is still a very interesting city. Atenas. Encantador, charming. Marta is a very charming person. Persona encantadora. She's a charming person. Charming. A lovely person. Persona también. Lovely person. Pero charming es que tiene un encanto que encanta. Lovely es una persona encantadora. Muy, muy maja, you see. O sea, lovely. Charming. Charming es que tiene cierta atracción. Charming. Enchanting también. Some enchanted evening. Enchanting. So we have 3 words for encantador, encantadora. Charming, enchanting, and lovely. Gracias, has sido una velada encantadora. Y tú has sido una anfitriona de primera. Thank you. It's been a lovely evening and you were charming. Una velada encantadora con una anfitriona encantadora. Okay. A lovely evening. Gracias a, thanks to a charming hostess. You understand? She was a charming hostess that generated a lovely evening. Evening como tarde es también velada. Ha sido una velada muy encantadora. It's been a lovely evening. Thank you so much. You've been a very charming hostess. Charming host, anfitrión, hostess, anfitriona. All right, charming. Complejo, complex. Bueno, también, mira, este estudio está dentro de un complejo de estudios televisivos. También aquí complex, con X al final. Pero el inglés es un idioma muy complejo. English is a very complex language. Not true. Every language is complex. Okay, so we use it as a physical place. Un polígono industrial sería an industrial complex. Un polideportivo. No es uno policial que le gusta el deporte. Es un sitio donde se hace deporte. Un polideportivo es a sports complex. Complejo deportivo. A sports complex. Complex. Tasa de mortalidad. Wow. Death rate. Escuta rate. Birth rate, death rate. Yes. Rate. The rate. And I charge my rate. What is your rate, Richard? Per hour. If I give, do you want private English class with me? Yeah. What's your rate? 300 euros an hour. 300 euros an hour? Are you crazy? That's too high. That's very expensive. Well, how much are the best lawyers in the world? Well, 300 euros an hour. So the best teacher in the world, 300 euros an hour. But there's a difference. A lawyer, a very, very good lawyer, can solve your legal problem in 30 hours. For English, you need 300 hours. So 300 euros an hour is prohibitive. Tasa de mortalidad is death rate. Tasa de natalidad, birth rate. Declive, decline. Sí, el declive de la civilización occidental. The decline of Western civilization. The German philosopher Heidegger, he said, the decline of the West. Is our civilization in decline? Are we declining? No. Things are getting better. Things are always getting better. Decline. O sea, decline, de declinar. Valla o cerca, fence. Claro, una cerca, un cerco, una valla is a fence. Don't fence me in, fence, the fence. Adelante, go ahead. No, adelante. Para allá. No tengas miedo, sigue adelante. Go ahead. Also, when two people come to the door at the same time, no, please, go ahead. You first. Age before beauty. Se dice a veces, que la edad pase antes que la belleza. Age before beauty. All right, no, you first. Go ahead. The most common thing when two people coincide at a door, the typical courtesies. No, please, go ahead. Continue. Richard? Shall I continue? Yeah, go ahead. Okay, can I go ahead? Go ahead. Go ahead. Todo junto. Go ahead. Go ahead means, sigue. No pares. Go ahead. Come on. Gráfico, graph. Un gráfico. From in mathematics, a graph. The x-axis and the y-axis. ¿Te acuerdas de los ejes X e Y? The x-axis and the y-axis. That's a graph. Now on computers, you can make beautiful graphs. Graphic es algo que era una escena muy gráfica. Eso es graphic. That's an adjective. But as a noun, como sustantivos, un gráfico, una gráfica is a graph. It's a graph. Culpable, guilty. Eres culpable de no saber inglés perfectamente. You're guilty. Guilty of not knowing. Ahora, el culpable, we say the culprit. El culpable es culpable. Okay. El culpable es sustantivo. Verbo es. Adjetivo, culpable. El culpable no es inocente. El culpable es culpable. The culprit is guilty. The culprit is guilty. Yeah, it's the culprit's fault. If we are going to blame somebody, we blame the culprit. All right. You blame the person if it's that person's fault. Culpas al culpable, no culpas al inocente. Le echas la culpa al culpable, ¿no? No le echas al inocente. So you blame the culprit. You don't blame the innocent person. And you blame that person. It's that person's blame. It's that person's fault. It's interesting. Fault, blame, culprit, guilty. 4 palabras en inglés alrededor del concepto de culpable o culpable, la culpabilidad. Guilt. Guilt es culpabilidad. Guilt. Guilty es culpable. Tú eres culpable de no sé qué. You're guilty of not knowing English perfectly. All right. The culprit is el culpable. And to blame is echarle la culpa. To blame. No me eches la culpa a mí. I'm only the teacher. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. I'm the teacher. Inspection. Inspection. A tax inspection. A labor inspection. To inspect. Inspeccionar is inspectar in English. To inspect. Yes. An inspection. An inspector. Yes. You know what an inspector de azotea is? You know the expression? Inspector de azoteas? You don't know. All right. In Mexico, in Mexican Spanish. A person, qué tío más largo, a very, very tall person, es un inspector de azoteas. That means he doesn't need a ladder to inspect buildings. You understand? The top of a building, he doesn't need a ladder. And do you know what the opposite is? No? A very short person, inspector de ombligos. I mean, he could inspect your belly button and he doesn't need to bend down. He's so short. All right? You've never heard that. All right. So a very short person in Mexico is inspector de ombligos, and a very tall person, inspector de azoteas. I'm not sure if they still use those expressions. This is many years ago in Mexico. All right. Where are we? All right. Inspección, inspection. Monstruo. Monster. Monster. Monster suena más monstruoso que monstruo. I prefer the Portuguese word. In Portuguese, they don't say monstro. Monstruo. They say monstro. Sino monstro. And that's wow. That sounds more dangerous. Monstruos sound more dangerous than monstruos. All right. Strange word in Spanish. ¿Por qué la U? I don't know why. Monstruo. Funny word. It's a strange word. In English, monster. 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 Monster's a programa televisivo de los Munster. Well, monster. 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 Yes. Monster. Kiosco. Newsstand. All right. There are fewer and fewer newsstands in Spain. In the year 2005, if I remember right, there were about 110,000, 110,000 kioscos, 17 years ago. Now there are about 50,000 because people are not buying newspapers. So there are fewer and fewer kioscos. Fewer and fewer newsstands, or kiosk. Kiosk, I think, is a Czech word, a Slovakian or Hungarian word. Kiosk, which is correct. You can say kiosk. I say a newsstand. I think the British say a news agent, agente de noticias. I think they say a news agent, but I'm not sure. Kiosk. Razonablemente, reasonably. Reasonable. Sé razonable, hombre. Be reasonable. Reasonably. Seminario. Seminar. Bueno, ojo. Careful. Seminario has two meanings. You know the two meanings in Spanish? Seminario es un cursillo, un seminario sobre mejorar las ventas. That's a sales seminar. Luego voy a hacerme cura, entonces voy al seminario. That's a seminary. Those are two things. Sí, voy a dar un seminario en ese seminario. Voy a enseñar a los curas a vender mejor I think they need it. Okay, I'm going to give a sales seminar in that seminary. So, future priests learn their trade in a seminary. Seminary. Future priests, futuros sacerdotes aprenden su oficio. They learn their trade in a seminary. Now, a seminar is a type of training course. It's a seminar. All right, where are we? Seminar. Estantería is shelf. Shelf. Yes, in my house. There are probably about 15 or 16 shelves in the living room, dining room. I have a lot of books. What am I going to do with those books when I die? My family is going to inherit those books. A lot of good books, by the way. A lot of good books. Estantería is shelf. Shelf. Plural, U-F, cambia V-E-S. Shelves. There are probably 15 or 16 shelves in the bookcase. I say bookcase. Estantería libros is the bookcase, como caso, case. Bookcase. But I have a bookcase in the living room above the chimney. I have a chimney in my house. And then in the dining room, there's another, it's an interesting living room, dining room. There's another bookcase, even bigger than the other one. Estantería is shelf. A corto plazo is short range, short term. Short term investment, short range. Realmente no. A corto plazo, short range. Yes, it's correct. Pero también de corto alcance. Yo solo I solo lanzo misiles de corto alcance. Yo nunca lanzo misiles de largo alcance. Okay, I only launch short range, o sea, de rango, short range missiles. I never launch long range missiles. Yeah, so only short range. So you don't need to worry. If you live far from me, no problem for you, because I only launch short range missiles, not long range missiles. Seguridad Social, Social Security, the same in English as in Spanish. Social Security. Mancha o punto, spot. There's a spot here. You know, it doesn't go away. Yeah, Marta, there's a spot. And it doesn't go away. Yeah, there's a spot here too. A spot. Or a spot puede ser una mancha. Anda. If you're eating spaghetti, especially aglio olio, with a lot of oil. There's several oil spots of grease spots on my shirt. Antonio Machado. You remember Antonio Machado? He spent about 4 or 5 years in Soria when he was maybe 35, 40 years old, where he married, I can't remember her name. But the students called him Antonio Manchado because apparently in the afternoon classes in the school, because he was teaching literature in a secondary school in Soria. But at lunch, he ate soup, and in the soup, he had spots, soup spots, and they called him Antonio Manchado. All right. Poor guy. All right, but in any case, Leonor was her name. Have you ever heard of Leonor? Yeah, very sad story. She was very young. Yeah, he was a cradle robber. Mancha is a spot. Spot también es un lugar o paraje. Hay un paraje en el bosque donde podemos estar solos. There's a spot in the forest. Okay, técnica is technique. Voy a usar una técnica nueva. I'm going to use a new technique to teach you English. A new approach. Un nuevo enfoque, planteamiento. A new technique, a new approach. A new technique. La Marina, in the Navy. In the Navy. Yes, I think it was Village People who had the song In the Navy. You remember In the Navy? In the Navy. Navy. Nobody in my family has ever been in the Navy. My family was in the Army Air Corps or the Air Force, but not in the Navy. La verdad, the truth. The truth of the matter. I always tell the truth. I never lie. I always tell the truth. I never lie. Now, I told you, for example, this is an airplane. It looks like a pencil, but it's really an airplane. Am I telling the truth or am I lying? Well, really, I'm lying. But this is learning English. We are in an imaginary world. And in an imaginary world, truth is different. Truth. La verdad. Neumáticos, tires. In Mexico se dice llantas. It's totally different. La parte de caucho in Mexico is la llanta. Here in Spain, la parte dura de la rueda is la llanta. And we have el neumático, the tire. But in English, it's tire. Escrito tire, con I latina. In the United States, con Y en el Reino Unido. Tire. Tire, 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 tire. Como decir un taller mecánico, pero acentuando la primera sílaba. Tire. ¿Taller? No, taller. Yo trabajo en un taller. Tire, tire, tire. The tires, a car has 4 tires and a 5th spare tire. Tires. Y por último, cera. Cera. Wax. El Museo de Cera, the Wax, con X, Wax Museum. W-A-X, the Wax Museum. Yes, have you ever been to the Wax Museum in Madrid? All right, Wax Museum. Maybe in the future they'll make me a figure. El Vago en ese. They'll say, Richard Vaughan is a wax in the Wax Museum. Yes, trying to teach English in the Wax Museum. Candles are made of wax. Candles, las velas. Candles are made of wax. All right, there's wax in your ear. All right, wax. All right, shall we continue? Paragraph number 88. All right, paragraph number 88. Are you ready? I've been looking forward to this day for many years. Now that the kids are grown and raising families, my wife and I will have a lot of time to spend together. The only thing that worries me now that I'm retired is finding enough things to do to fill up all my free time. All right. We only have 1 minute left. So I'm going to continue this paragraph in the next program. But nevertheless, this is a person who has just retired. All right. So the person is probably 65, 66, 67 years old. And he says, llevo años esperando con ilusión este día. For example, today, Marta and I today are going to say goodbye to a person who is retiring, Juan Antonio. We're going to say goodbye to him. And I met Juan Antonio in 1979. I'm saying goodbye today because he's going to retire. But me, no. This class will continue tomorrow. See you.